Hi there, I'm Cora, a student at the Miami Valley School in Dayton, Ohio. This year, I'm taking an APUS history class at school with my teacher, Mr. Squires, in which we attempt to make cool educational videos to supplement our learning. As the basis for the class, we've been using the textbook The American Pageant, written by David M. Kennedy and Elizabeth Cohen. Recently, we've been studying the 42nd chapter, titled The American People Face a New Century, in order to recognize the fundamental realities Americans must face as members of a society partaking in the 21st century. I wanted to share what I've learned through reading the chapter and doing some external research. Here's what I've discovered. The world is changing. Our knowledge of the past tells us it's always been like this. After all, life isn't stable. Systems are always fluctuating in some way. Even equilibriums are often dynamic. The United States is currently facing changes that provide both challenges and improvements as we head for the future. Whether positive or negative, the 21st century realities the United States must face are not scarce. According to the American Pageant, the United States in the 21st century is falling behind on several crucial counts. While Americans were the world's wealthiest people in the 2.5 decades after World War II, the 21st century witnessed their loss of this claim. American students' math and science scores are not up to par with some of its Asian counterparts. Furthermore, Kennedy and Cohen state that the U.S. may be losing its preeminence in science to some countries in Europe and Asia. America is also rife with socioeconomic inequality, apparent in the ever-widening income gap. Drawing data from the U.S. Census Bureau, the American Pageant calls attention to the 2009 statistic that the wealthiest 20% of Americans receive 50% of the country's income, in contrast to the poorest 20%, which receive only 3% of the income. Kennedy and Cohen state that in the 1970s, a chief executive would normally earn 41 times what the average worker in the company would earn. However, by the early 21st century, the executive would earn 245 times what the worker would earn. Another reality to which the United States must pay attention is the abundance of reasons for environmental concern. While awareness about issues such as global climate change has certainly increased, Kennedy and Cohen state that the mission of following through with tasks such as cleansing the earth of pollutants, conserving energy, and pursuing alternative fuel sources certainly remains. However, not all of the 21st century realities that America must face are negative. According to the United Nations Population Division, American life expectancies leading up to the 2000s have increased from 68 to 78. Additionally, the dawn of the new century has fostered an information age in which technological advancements abound. Kennedy and Cohen discuss how this information age also meant the entrance on the world stage of a biological engineering revolution, demonstrated by such large-scale projects as the Human Genome Project, in which DNA sequencing of the 30,000 human genes was completed. However, this surge in bioengineering was accompanied by ethical questions, especially revolving around stem cell research. These ethical dilemmas demonstrate the implications such a technological leap can have. Nevertheless, the achievements we have made as a species during the information age of the 21st century are unprecedented. Connections are being made that were never before possible. Peoples once isolated are now forming bonds with each other, learning about each other, and understanding each other. In this information age, free information is being increasingly accessible to people, accompanied by an increase in both literacy and educational attainment. UNESCO estimated the average percent adult literacy in the world in 1950 to be 55 to 57%. Recent data found by the UNESCO Institute for Statistics suggests that this rate has risen in the 21st century to 84%. Similarly optimistic statistics of academic improvement are available for the United States for educational attainment. According to the National Assessment of Adult Literacy, in 1940, less than 50% of Americans had completed more than an 8th grade education. The U.S. Census Bureau states that by 2013, this number had risen to about 96%. The 21st century has also facilitated new societal roles for women. Kennedy and Cohen note that in the early 1900s, only 20% of the workforce was comprised of females. However, the 1990s saw a nearly 50-50 split in the gender of workers. Additionally, while in 1950, only 24% of married women were in the workforce, this number increased to 61.6% in 2007, according to data from the Statistical Abstract of the United States by the U.S. Census Bureau. Thus, in many circumstances, what used to be the traditional ideal role of the woman as a homemaker and childbearer decayed as the 21st century rolled in. Just like it did to the traditional roles of women, the 21st century also dealt significant blows to what Kennedy and Cohen call the traditional nuclear family. While the concept of family remained a, quote, bedrock of American society, unquote, the family itself morphed into many forms. The definition of family blurred as houses which were previously viewed as atypical or unconventional, such as those led by a single parent, a step-parent, or gay or lesbian parents, became more typical and conventional and more widely accepted. Furthermore, the increase in the percentage of married women who worked disrupted the quote-unquote ideal of a two-parent house in which the father worked and the mother stayed at home. Increasingly, families were comprised of two working parents, or a working mother and a stay-at-home father, in a reversal of traditional roles. The niches people could occupy therefore evolved significantly as the dawn of the 21st century brought opportunity to many. The new century in America witnessed, and still continues to witness today, the transformation of people's lives as definitions become blurred, as ideals become erased, and as what would have appeared to be merely fantasies a century ago become realities.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to be awesome.